Almighty God, we humbly come before you to ask that you bless this council and all who are engaged in the work of local government. Grant that we may order all things in wisdom, righteousness, and peace. We pray as well today, Lord, that you would show mercy on this city and its residents by bringing rain to this city to fill our dams and our nation. To the honor of your name and the good of the people who dwell in this city. Amen. Good afternoon, councillors and senior management and others present today. I would like to make a few observations regarding the situation that we face at present. Since we last met at the beginning of February, as we all know, this city and in fact the entire nation has faced arguably the worst February on record. I personally have never experienced such a hot and dry February. It is a situation which affects not just the city, but the entire nation and indeed the entire region. And with that in mind, our deliberations today must focus on the provision of water, of the securing of adequate water supplies. As we are aware, in the course of the last month, we have had several meetings with the authorities, in particular the Minister of Water, last week. As you're also aware, we've had a succession of meetings with the technical committee set up by government. And we have reached a broad consensus with that technical committee regarding what is needed for the provision of water in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. The net result of that consensus and what was discussed with the Minister of Water last week is that the city needs a sum of approximately $14 million as a matter of urgency. That is to ensure that Nyamandlovu aquifer can run at full capacity. It will ensure that the Mchabez pipeline to Mzungwani will be brought up in terms of its capacity, and that the pump stations at Mzungwani and Inyankuni will also be upgraded so that we can access as much water from the three remaining dams which have water, namely in Caesar, Inyankuni, and Mchabez. The Minister of Water has directed the technical committee to conduct an immediate, scientifically based survey of the water holdings in our dams, which is to form the basis for a projection of how much water we have available bearing in mind the population of our city, bearing in mind the water usage. And our hope is that the technical committee will deal with that urgently and will report to the minister and ourselves as a matter of urgency, so that if they find that the city, as we think it is an area which should be declared as a water shortage area, it is then declared as such. The necessity, as we all know, for that is that the city will then be able to approach third-party financiers to assist in the emergency work required. And so we trust, as I say, that the technical committee will do its job urgently, and we trust that the government will respond as a matter of urgency. I'm pleased to report to you that tomorrow we will be meeting the Minister of Local Government, Honourable Chitando, and I'm sure that the focus of that meeting will also be to address the crisis that we face in that regard. As we all know, we attended our meeting in Gweru last week, and I'm very happy with, I'm sure we are all happy, with the broad consensus that we have achieved amongst ourselves as councillors right across the political divide, and the consensus which exists between the councillors and senior management. In that sense, we are one regarding the measures that need to be taken to address this short-term water crisis. I'm pleased to report as well that a considerable amount of progress has been made regarding addressing the medium-term measures that need to be taken to secure water beyond this. We have to assume that climate change is real, that the climate has in fact changed. We can no longer assume that we are going to have rainfall in the manner that we have experienced probably all our lives. One doesn't want to dramatize it, but as responsible leaders for our city, we have to make that assumption that climate change is affecting our nation, and because of that, we need to take all measures to augment our water supplies. And it is that, in that regard, that the progress we've made regarding the construction of Glass Block Dam is critically important for the future of the city. And as we are aware, by the end of April, the two technical committees, the one on engineering, the other on finance, will be reporting back to the council regarding the engineering that is required to secure what we term the southeast corridor of water supplies, the construction of Glass Block, the construction of the 32-kilometre pipeline from Glass Block to Ncema, the rehabilitation of Ncema water treatment works, and the upgrading of Thuli Reservoir. Government, in our meeting with Dr. Masuka, recently confirmed once again that government is prepared to consent to the city entering into a private agreement to construct Glass Block and to progress with what I've just described to us. And we are thankful to government for that consensus that has been reached with the government. Finally, with regard to water, we stress, as we stress time and time again, we are grateful to government for the work that they've done on Guashangani. That is a viable long-term project, not just for our city, but for Matabeleland North. But it is not a short or medium-term strategy. But we don't want to convey any mixed messages to the public. We support Guashangani, but we recognize it is a long-term project. and Gwashangani should never stop the construction of glass block and the other facilities that we need to construct to secure the city's water. So that's number one, I think, on our agenda, water. Number two is our sanitation. In the last month, we have started to make progress regarding the rehabilitation of the 8 sewage plants which are working under capacity. There have been constructive discussions and meetings taking place, including the town clerk, regarding the rehabilitation of ASLB 1, 2, and 3. And in the last week, we have made some progress in trying to mediate a solution regarding the deep section. If those matters are addressed, then we will start to tackle the deep-rooted issues relating to sanitation. Finally, on our third priority, namely to address the plight of informal vendors and the congestion within the city, as we all know, we've made some progress in the last month. And I congratulate the town clerk and our management for the progress that they've made on Fifth Avenue. And I also congratulate the vendors associations. This is the spirit which is going to take the city forward, where we can cooperate in the manner that has happened. I know not everybody is happy regarding it, but there is progress in that regard, and that is to be congratulated. We've made considerable progress on Egodini, and just yesterday we had a highly constructive meeting with the contractors, and we now have a clear path ahead to complete Egodini, to complete phase 1B by the end of August, to complete phase 2 by the end of the year, and to complete the entire project by the end of 2025. It is subject to certain variables. I'm not going to waste our time now, but I'm very happy with that. And as we will deliberate today, the notice that was imposed on the contractors will be lifted. And that has enabled the contractors to commit financially to proceed with all due haste to finish Egodini. As you are aware, this is not the only method we are employing to address the plight of informal traders. We've created the 500 bays in Fifth Avenue, and management once again is to be congratulated for the progress on 2nd Avenue and Lobengula Street. Although there's considerable work that still has to be done in that regard, that is progress. So for all the challenges that we face, I think that we can see that we are consolidating. There is unity of purpose, even in the extreme crisis that we face now. And I look forward to our deliberations in our meeting taking place now, where we can consolidate these gains. Thank you. We now need to confirm. Yeah, you carry on.
Thank you, Your Worship, councillors of the City of Bulawayo, management, and esteemed stakeholders. We are with us in this full council meeting today. The legal question, Your Worship, confirmation of the minutes of ordinary meeting held on the 7th of April 2024. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Town Clerk. We move to item 2, report of the Health and Housing and Education. Councillor Kamala.
Thank you, Worship. I move that the report of the Health, Housing and Education Committee meeting held on the 13th of April 24 as submitted be received, and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Any debate? Is there no debate? So we move. Thank you. Item 3. Report of the Environmental Management and Engineering Services Committee. Is the chair there?
Your Worship, I move that the report of the Environmental Management and Engineering Services Committee meeting on the 19th of April 2024 is submitted, be received, and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Any second? Thank you. Seconded. Any debate? Councillor?
Thank you, Your Worship, fellow councillors and management. I want to look at the internal dynamics concerning water restoration.
Which item?
It's under I can't locate it here, but it's to do with the water shedding that is happening. What is happening is that we all know that we've had to go through a very difficult period, and councillors are taking a lot of flack. We are hearing a lot of blows from angry residents regarding water restoration. Finally, it has been put across, and we all understand. And as councillors, we are putting it across to the residents to understand the dire situation in which we find ourselves. But however, when a period called water restoration comes, what has been happening is that we have had certain locations, particularly where I stay, where the residents do not receive water as per restoration. I think it happened for the past 2 weeks, where the restoration period was supposed to have them get water, but it would come and go without them receiving water. So it became a very, very difficult situation to be in. So this one saying I'm looking at internal dynamics, that we want to encourage our engineering department to make sure that if it's our 10 or the 10 of what A or B, those people must have access to water. Because water restoration means water restoration. You can't have water restoration and have it shut out or cut out from your setup without you having received it. This is the concern that I'm putting across. Thank you.
Councillor.
Yeah, my contribution is on item 2, Cross Branch. Ngithengibala laphana nginanzelela ukuthi kulama selected wards azayenzwa i-regraveling. Bengilombuzo ku chairperson we-engineering ukuthi i-criteria abayisebenzisileyo yiyiphi. My proposal kumbe suggestion kuwe chairperson ngenkundla yakho yikuthi ama-wards wonke ayadinga alemgwaqo edinga i-service naleli ikhethele ama-wards lawo. Bengipropose ukuthi let's say per ward they select 10 dusty roads ezaregravelwa. Ngiyabonga Nkosi.
Is there no further debate? So, can we move this report?
Yes.
Item 4. Report to the Townlands and Planning Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the report of the Townlands and Planning Committee meeting held on the 20th of February 2024 as submitted be received and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted. Thank you.
Second.
My second amendment, Your Worship. I was not upset with that particular day.
was engaged in other council business, and I notified the individual who called me, reminding me about the meeting.
Thank you. Is there any debate? Is there no debate? We move this. Item 5. I move that the report of the General Purposes Committee meeting held on the 26th of February as submitted be received and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted. Is there seconded?
Second.
Thank you. Any debate? Councillor.
Item 8, Your Worship. Let me just confirm. I think it's about the audit committee. There was an invitation sent to council. Is it? There was an invitation sent to council inviting the audit committee to attend the ceremony to attend a workshop for public sector entities. Your Worship, I understand the recommendation which was forwarded by the GP, but I wanted to comment that it is very important for us as this council to invest in education, to invest in information and capacity building. Number 2, as council, we are aware that we are having challenges in terms of our audit internally. It was very important for us to capacitate and support the committee that we have under audit, chaired by Councillor Alec Ndov and Councillor Melissa. It is of my view that the recommendation that was set by General Purpose to say that the chairperson of audit and the vice chair must attend the meeting, or I don't see any reason why we as councillors, council, we fail to then maybe recommend the whole committee to attend the workshop, because a chairperson of a committee is different from a director or management in terms of skill and in terms of the jurisdiction. So for us to attend workshops in the name of attending, but failing then to understand the reason of attending the workshop, I don't think we will be getting towards the right direction as the council. If it's a workshop to do with capacity building, to do with the networking, to do with things that will benefit us internally in terms of information and capacitation, let's take them serious. Let's not attend them in the name of attending. So my recommendation, Your Worship, is I feel like the whole audit committee must attend this meeting, not only the chair and the vice chair, but if my history serves me very well, the committees, there are about 7 members on that committee. I don't think for us it can be a cost, because we are investing in their capacity. We want to be a competent council. Yes, in terms of knowledge and wisdom, it's very important for us to invest in it. So my recommendation, Your Worship, is this workshop, it must not only be attended by the chair and the vice chair of the committee, but the whole committee must happily attend that workshop so that they can learn and come back with skills that can benefit this council.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further statement in that regard, Councillor?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I would like to second what Councillor Moyo said. This is a very critical committee in local government and in our council. And I believe each and every person has to be empowered. That is the committee which checks whether we are doing our things right in terms of controls, in terms of everything. And tomorrow, a committee member can wake up being a chairperson. So capacitating the chairperson and the deputy chairperson is not enough. I understand in August we'll be changing committees, and these two may not be chairman and vice chairman. Any member of that committee, or only member of that committee, in case he or she returns to that committee, would need to chair that committee. So it is very critical at this juncture, Your Worship, that these people, these councillors, be exposed to audit skills. So I strongly second what the Councillor Moyo said that the whole committee be taken up on board.
Is there any further debate on that? So let me respond. My understanding is that there's a limit imposed on every council regarding the number of attendees. And what I'm advised is that other members of the committee will be able to attend future workshops. If my advice in that regard is correct, then whilst I appreciate what you're saying, does that not address it? I recognize it's not a short-term solution, but perhaps it provides a long-term solution. I've not been advised when the next workshop will be conducted, but I'm advised that there are future workshops.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Regards this workshop that we shall attend, it was always my desire that our team travels together. You know, the whole team travels together. But when we engaged, when we heard that the GP, she had resolved that only 2 members attend that workshop, we sought to engage management on how they arrived at that decision. I think the CS Chamber Sec would confirm that I've been checking at their office, and the TC would confirm that I've been making frantic efforts to engage them. And the TC in particular had said he would consult the management and they would come back to me. But that was a desire that the whole committee attends. Thank you.
But would you address specifically what I've said, that because this is a workshop involving councils from across the nation, if my understanding is correct, that a limit has been placed on all councils regarding the number of attendees at the workshop?
I understand, Your Worship, but it's difficult for me as an individual to say. But while I appreciate the cost side of consideration, the consideration of the cost aspect to it, I was looking at I think my committee is the only one which has the least number of committee members. I think we are only seven members, while others are numbering more than 12, more than a dozen. But look, it's only...
What I suggest is, then, Chair, is that we deal with this in committee.
Yes.
Is that acceptable?
That's acceptable.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Is there any further debate on this report? Move the report. Thank you. So we now the report of the Finance and Development Committee, please. Please, would the Chair move that?
I move that the report of Finance and Development Committee meeting held on the 27th of February 2024 is submitted to received the recommendations contained for all councillors.
Is there a seconder for that?
Specific.
Thank you, sir.
Saying.
Is there any debate? Councillor.
Item 1, overview piece of financial data. I think because ngifuna ukukhuluma ngendaba zama-bills of council. Ama-residents are complaining overbilling and is continuing to be worse instead of reducing. And in the statement of e-bill, there are some items that the residents don't understand. Bekulula ngokuthi ukuthi alubana ifinance ifisa abantu babhadale yenze into ezihambelanayo ezifunwa izakhamizi. Ama residents bayafisa ukubhadala imali ye-council kodwa ama-bills angikhona abuya emakhulu. La zama residents abecela ukuthi inkosi athola amanzi once a week, 4 times a month. bananzelela ukuthi ngendlela ama-bills a-escalate ngakhona bekunganani kube le fixed amount ye-consumption ngoba njengoba sithola amanzi ngokufanayo ngaphandle kwalabo abalama-jojo tank nxa lingenza i-study sokuthi libone emalokishini abalama-jojo tank but the rest babhadala imali efananayo ngoba ama-estimates abawazwisisi ukuthi asebenza njani ngesikhathi amanzi ehlupha. So besikucela ukuthi lingane liyakhangela i-billing yethu ilo hlupho olukhulu abantu abazwisisi okwenza bagcine bengasahambi ukuyobhadala thina sifisa ukuthi imali ibe khona.
Thank you. Councillor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Worship. I also want to urge on what Councillor Mole said in the issue of billing. Your Worship, I feel like we are not doing justice to the residents and ourselves because I foresee a situation where we are going to discuss this matter because we've been 35 years. And almost every time we discuss this matter, we don't reach a final conclusion on what we should do as a council. We cannot have the Worship us going for more than 5 consecutive meetings raising the same issue, nothing is done to that department. Last time I addressed that we should have, if possible, time frames on these issues to say we've got this problem, this should be resolved in the next so many weeks. And if that is not done, then we should take that task that department to task to say why is it this problem is not continuing. Because from what I'm seeing, it now looks like the department is actually failing to resolve this problem. I've got some of the bills which were sent to me by the residents as examples of people paying over $100, people who stay in Kumula East where there is not even enough space for one to have a garden and there's no water sometimes for more than a month. But someone is paying more than $100, sometimes $200. And we have been crying about the same problem and nothing has been done. I would want to propose, Your Worship, that we have a team or we set up a committee to look into this department so that they can find the problems which are actually coming from that department. Because we now cannot even tell whether this is now sabotage or it's incompetence or they are genuine mistakes. We now need a report coming from that department so that we know what we are talking about. So that when we even talk to them, we know where the problem is. Because I know with the next meeting again, we are going to be talking about the same issue. Next meeting, we will talk about the same issue. We need to move and have solution to such problems. So that's my contribution on the issue of billing. Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. On a similar item, I think it is very, very critical at this time to closely monitor our billing to understand the challenges which we are facing as a city. The point I would want to raise here is that with this 120-hour water scheduling, which we introduced as council, residents are receiving maybe water 4 times a month, some twice, some even none. But the question which then comes is that the bill does not change. Water is not being consumed daily. Actually, you would find the bill fluctuating. That's a very serious irregularity which we need to look at as council and as the finance committee, finance chairman. Why is it that the same thing keeps on occurring? What are the problems which you are experiencing? I think the report has to come here so that we will fully understand what challenges this committee is facing in giving residents correct bills. High bills, they discourage residents from paying. And in particular, those who pay. A resident who visits our revenues for payment, if he or she receives a bill with a normal 3 continuous months or 4 continuous months, it actually puts off that person. We have encountered such cases, and I think we have inherited the same problem from the previous council. The problem continues. So whether it's our systems, we need to look at our systems. Whether it's human error, we need to really vent out to find what the problem is before we then start to point fingers that so and so is not doing the job. And at this time, I believe that we still have a committee which is competent. They are listening and they will look into this. I don't think in the next council we have a similar debate. If in the next council we have got a similar debate, then we've got a serious problem. We expect Bababu, the chairperson, you have heard the concerns which are coming from the councillors. And we want to charge you as council. We charge you, Councillor Moyo, the chairperson of finance, that next time you report, must answer all these questions which are being asked by esteemed councillors in this house. Or else we may think of going to elect another finance chairperson if you don't deal with this situation. Because you are the head of this committee, we are not going to attack the director because you are the boss to the director. And we expect these things to be addressed as a matter of urgency. I thank you, Worship.
Still upon the same matter. Angazi ukuthi mhlawumbe i-committee ekhangana ne-deal ike inanzelela ukuthi legal asikho kuliskini ukubotshiswa ngama-residents. Nxa beke bakukhangela mzawungwane ekhona ukuthi singabi kulist, why isitsho njalo? Ama-residents ayakhala. We are using our estimates to charge amanzi. Ama-estimates lawo ayenzwa ngesikhathi amanzi saphuma every day. We are still using those same estimates to charge our currently. Amanzi ebuya once in 2 weeks. Kambe isikho kutshontshelwa izakhamuzini. Nxa kuyikho the committee ekhangelela lokhu mhlawumbe ifuna isupport, I will then say I second to Councillor Matsana to say, can we aid abantu bengisana labo amanye ama-councillors to look into this issue, because we don't want to be found sesibotshiswa ngama-residents as councillors because of ignorance. Honestly, people are crying, we are overcharging them. There is no water, but we are charging them same charges as 6 months back. I thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Your Worship. Mine is a question. We are aware that without money, a council cannot run. And all this hinges on the Committee of Finance and Development. My question then is, what measures are there in place that there is maximum collection of revenue? Because sikala every day with agula man. What are we doing so that we can collect maximum so that it can help council to move forward? My question is, are there measures that are put in place so that there is maximum collection in terms of revenue?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I understand and I appreciate the concerns of fellow councillors. But no, what point of order? Sorry, I'm not a member of that committee. It's my contribution of 4 mayors. No. I'm saying I appreciate the concerns from fellow councillors, but at this level, really, we should not be generalizing Your Worship as councillors. to say the bills are high. Last month we debated about this and we advised the councillors to bring bills here. It was going to be better if we were debating on bills provided, not just hearsay and speculation. It is not fair, it is not expected at our level as councillors. We should deal with issues, not tissues, I think.
I don't think the Honorable Deputy Mayor Worship, his language can be entertained in this council, because we've got viewers who are viewing there. If we use such kind of language, I don't think it's acceptable in this house, and that should be withdrawn.
It's not derogatory, but it's perhaps demonstrates a slight reduction in compassion. So I'd urge you to reconsider.
Okay, I should be compassionate.
Yes.
Okay, I withdraw the tissue. So that I withdraw the tissue so that we debate issues.
Thank you. Councillor, you've already addressed this issue, I think.
Yes.
I wanted to respond to what is.
You can't speak twice.
No. Just stay put. I do wish to respond to this, but before I do, is there any further debate on item? What is it? Item 2? Item 1, is it? It's item 1, is it? If there's no further debate on this particular issue, I'd like to make a few comments. The first, for the benefit of the public, is to advise the public that in our strategic planning retreat in Gweru last week, this was debated extensively, and a few issues came out of that, and a few resolutions came out of that. The first, to follow on from the Deputy Mayor, although I'm cautious about using similar language to him, the fact of the matter is that many of the cases, indeed most of the cases that were investigated, were found to be people who were in arrears. That is certainly my recollection of what came out of that meeting. I've not studied the facts in great detail, but that was my understanding of what was reported to all of us. So that's the first point. The second point is that we must show compassion and understanding, in my view, regarding these assessed charges, particularly on water. And I would not be as critical as Councillor Mabuto has been regarding the chair. I would rather urge the chair to have a close look at those assessed charges, particularly in the context of what is happening at present, as we all know, where water isn't being delivered. The fixed charges we can do nothing about, but certainly we do need to have a close look at those assessed charges if people have not had water for weeks on end. That is something that is going to aggravate residents, and I have enormous sympathy for them. The third issue that came out was the resolution that we agreed on in Gweru regarding a variety of changes that need to be implemented as a matter of urgency. The first change is that we need to improve our advertising of our charges. We need to regularly update, and we've discussed the updating of our website to ensure that all charges are clearly laid out. Secondly, we need to advertise clearly regarding the appeals process, which is there. And thirdly, as you all know, and for the benefit of the public, as a matter of urgency, we have asked the finance director to address the issue of online access tied to the website, to ensure that every resident is able to access either through their computer or ideally through their phone, because most people have a smartphone, so that they can access their account, see what their arrears are, understand how their account has been arrived at, to check the payments that they have made are reflected on their account. And in that manner, we will have much better communication with all residents, and residents will be in a much better position to know what their arrears are. But let me conclude by echoing the last comment regarding the need for people to pay their rates. We still have unacceptably high levels of non-payment, and they are dramatically affecting our ability to operate as a council. We have, the last time I was advised, $51 million in arrears, owed to us by government departments, owed to us by businesses, and owed to us by ordinary residents. This is an appeal to the public. To come back to the water issue, we face a crisis. We cannot address many of these issues unless these rates are paid. So we have to work in tandem. I personally take very seriously this debate that councillors have raised. It is a serious issue. I'm not seeking to in any way undermine the issue. People must have accurate bills. They must have fair bills that comply with our laid down charges. No one disputes that. And there must be a fair and transparent method for people to be able to access their bills and understand them. There must be an appeals process that is fair and quick and understandable for residents to deal with it. But the other side of it is that where there are genuine bills, we urge residents to pay. And this debate must never be allowed to give any excuse to people not to pay bills. Because if we all do not pay our bills, the city literally grinds to a halt. We've dealt with item 1. Is there debate on any other items before I ask the chair to respond? Is this a new item, Councillor?
Yeah.
Please, go ahead.
Item number 6, Your Worship. Water retention.
Please.
Your Worship, the 3% water retention scheme.
Sorry, Councillor, just hold on a second.
Okay.
Let's just assume that no one wants to debate anything prior to item 6. Item 6 speaks to the 3% water retention.
Yes.
Councillor, please go ahead, and you go ahead on the assumption that no one wants to debate anything prior to that. Councillor.
Yes, I still had one more contribution to make on billing.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship. I think as councillors, there is this perception that we need to correct, and we have to explain as councillors in our monthly feedback meeting. There is a perception that residents think that every month they must not pay for water if water has not been restored or supplied on them. That is a wrong perception. Water must be paid for because you still have the fixed aspect of the water charge.
Yes.
That one must be emphasized, that beside the whole list of your sewer charges, your land rates, your toilets, and remember the toilets again, if you have got more than one toilet chamber, your charges also go up. And on the land rates, is dependent on the size of your stand. Because there is this issue of saying, we are all living in Magwebe or Pumula, but so and so is paying a lesser amount than me. These are the aspects that we need to explain. That there are a lot of factors that come into play. The size of the land, the number of toilets, things to do with your solid waste and your VAT. This is one thing that we need to put across. I wanted this perception to be corrected, to say, if water is not harmed, there shouldn't be any water charge on me.
Thank you, Councillor. Right, if there's no further debate and no further debate on items prior to item 6, that's my assumption. Councillor, please go ahead.
Right. Thank you very much, Your Worship. On item number 6, about the 3% water retention. When this scheme was introduced, Your Worship, if my memory serves me, that was the Council resolution of 2016 or 2017, somewhere there, before we even got elected in 2018. And we fully understood how it works. We explained even to the residents how it works. But the unfortunate part, Your Worship, is that I'm speaking on this item since the previous council. I think it's the 8th time now today. And it is very worrying, Your Worship, because we are accountable to the residents. We explain residents that for every dollar you pay, the 3% has to go back to the ward for developmental projects or council infrastructure. We do give feedbacks, Your Worship. We do submit projects to be undertaken, Your Worship. It is very worrying, Your Worship, that since 2018, up to date, I'm in my 4th term of office since 2018, because I've taken out of office, Your Worship, 4 times in 2 terms. So this is my 4th term in office, Your Worship. And nothing has been addressed in regard to the projects I submitted to the committee. Again, I want to charge you, the Chairperson of Finance, Baba M. Moyo, to look into this. I remember last time when you got sworn in Deputy Mayor and the Councillor Moyo, you wanted a commission of inquiry in regard to this item which we are speaking about today. I remember you fuming here, you were blind with anger, red with fury. But at this critical time, Your Worship, there are simple things which we requested to be done by Obabumo. I'm not going to talk about the director, I'm going to charge him because he's the boss of the committee. And the next time when you come here, Baba Moyo, with your report, I want you to tell me what you are doing in Ward 9, what you are doing in Ward 1, in Ward 2, in Ward 3, in Ward 4, because I understand these esteemed councillors have taken over for some of the projects which were pending. So we want you to give us a comprehensive report, in particular in Ward 9, on what have you done on this upliftment, the refurbishment of Inyatutu Center, the sporting facilities of Inyatutu Center, the report which we gave your committee in the previous council. And if that cannot be answered in the next council, Honorable Chair of Finance, we will relieve you of your duties. If you don't relieve your subordinate, who is the director to do. Thank you very much.
Councillor, before I open up the debate, the chair of the committee is obviously being put under a lot of pressure by you. My only comment, I'd make 2 comments. Firstly, it's important that we do not focus on individual wards. Our role in this meeting is to look at the entire city. The second point I make is that if we believe in devolution nationally, as a national principle, that must flow down to village and ward level. In other words, decisions regarding the spending of this money should be made by that ward and through its representative. but we need to know, and this is where I'm in sympathy with you, we need to know how much money is allocated to each ward, and then there needs to be a debate with each elected councillor for the respective ward regarding how that money should be spent. But is there any other debate on this particular issue? No? Can we move on? Well, before we move, is there any other debate further on in what item, Councillor? You're still on item 6?
Yes.
We've already moved on from that.
No, I was raising my hand.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'll give you the floor.
I suggest that some of us, the councillors who are new, if we can have a workshop such that we understand what retention fund works, it will be better, because some of us on this, we don't know how it's supposed to be distributed. And the residents are asking about that.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah.
Any other debate on item 6? Item 6, Councillor.
Yeah, I actually wanted to, some of the things that I want to trace with what been said by Councillor, that some of these things, some of us as new councillors, we can't even contribute to the debate, because what retention, we don't even know whether is it supposed to come is like per month or per year or after how long, and even the conditions around how we are supposed to spend the money. So I just wanted to ask you, if it was possible, maybe I don't know if I would be justified to ask the councillor, maybe who councillor of finance committee, since he was part of the previous council, maybe if he knows, maybe he must start in briefing. But if that cannot be done now, maybe we can ask that to be done some other time, so that we are also as councillors, so that we are all on the same table in terms of knowledge.
Councillor, to give you some comfort, like you, I'm a new boy and I share your concern. So I think that that's a valid concern. But is there any further debate on item 6? Don't be so hasty, Councillor. Is there any further debate regarding any other item? You see, Councillor, are you trying to diminish the rights of others? What item then?
Item 6, what retention? With our councillor wonke gala knowledge what retention fund, only those old councillors ababekhona previous council abakama projects abo abayenza bafume namhlanje. I'll propose ukuthi sibe lenient ku chairperson we finance, simnike isikhathi basebenze kahle ngendaba yebo le what retention fund ngama project, until sonke sibe kwazi ukuthi silama projects aphi, sasubmit waphi, awayenzwanga ngaphi, thina vele what ayivele kumele ibe lemali. But kungaba labantu abayi2 ababhomba icommittee, wayilisa abantu abayi36 abala knowledge. Ngiyabonga.
Right, let's move on. Oh, sorry, Councillor, I didn't see you in the corner. On item 6?
Yeah. The same item on a panel was retention funds. Definitely, I'm the truth recommendation and full family amateur rights, whatever we are in, but retention fund, we need to consider amateur rights. So I'm asking a committee, because the finance is under. So I'm now complain and so
exposing yourself. I take it there's no further debate on item 6. Any debate on any other item? Where? Councillor.
Isicelo sami yezwa kuthiwa wa-rotation fund ngibelokhu ngizibuza ukuthi njengoba sile cattle card ward 50 lo ward 6 mina abantwana bangale nxa sebethole izuzu ye-3% yena leyo abantwana laba abafunda esikolo zethu ngapha batholani sincediswa njani ngapha ikakhulu iluveli iMacheskover inyanda Induzo. Lapho sangathi ingxenye yekhadipha yezikolo zena lezi zingapha. Sesizwe ngani kuthiwa kuloku imadlanyana ngani imali phela enkulu imali. Ngoba izakuncedisa iwadi. So ngoba izakuncedisa iwadi ukuthi mina ngapha izosiza njani ezikolweni lezi. Ngiyabonga.
I think that we need to move on. Is there any debate on any other item? Or can I invite the chair to respond to these issues? Chair, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I would like to appreciate the concerns of my fellow colleagues, councillors, especially Councillor Owe, who talked a valid point that going forward we should use estimates of our current situation when we are on 120-hour water shedding. It's a valid point, and I expect that as councillors you come to debate such valid points. Then coming to Councillor Mabuto, I think you are out of order. I remember when I watched a video that was circulating, that way Councillor Mafume was putting the fellow councillor into perspective. You don't come here and start calling them councillors. This is a committee that has got 13 councillors, and you don't come here and speak specifically to the chairperson of the committee. I think it's out of order. It needs to be corrected. It needs to be.
On a point of order, Your Worship. On a point of order, Your Worship.
Sit down, Chairman. I'll take the point of order, but please use restraint. Councillor, before I give you the floor.
Yes.
Can I finish, Your Worship?
No, it is a point of order, so I'll hear the point of order. Please sit down, Chair. Thank you. On one condition, Councillor, that you use restrained and dignified language.
That is it, because we want to run these kinds of professionally. And when we are interrogating him, we don't interrogate the director here. We interrogate the chairperson of the committee. It is his report, which is before this August House, Your Worship.
What is your point of order, Councillor?
Your Worship, he was addressing me, not to address you.
Okay.
That is uncalled for in this country, Your Worship.
Thank you,
should
Councillor.
address issues, not individuals.
Thank you, Councillor.
But we are addressing
So he's the committee chairperson, Your Worship.
Order.
Deputy Mayor,
Finish your point.
I'm not speaking to you.
Councillor, just finish your point of order, please.
Yes. What I'm simply saying, Your Worship, is Council has got procedures on how it operates. When a report comes before this August House, Your Worship, he is the chairperson of the committee. And when we speak to him. It is his report. It is his report. Your Worship, I'm still speaking. Unless you want me to raise a point of order on you again. So, Your Worship.
Sit down. You made your point of order. Chairman, please listen to me. Just let me finish, Councillor. Chairman, there was a point of order that you should address the chair. Please address the chair. But before you do that, there's a point of order. I hope it's a valid point of order.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I think that when councillors are raising points of order, they should quote the specific rule. All of us here got the standing rules and orders of council. And therefore, it cannot be that you allow points of order, frivolous for that nature, to come to this house. Therefore, I expect you, Your Worship, as the non-partisan chair of this house, to say that, Councillor, on which point are you raising in terms of our standing rules and orders of council? Thank you very much, Your Worship.
That point is valid. Chairman, please carry on.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I will no longer speak to that issue, but you used to watch the video where Mafume was putting someone into perspective. Maybe I've also used that language. Thank you, Your Worship. Then on the issue of what pension, it should be noted that the finance role is just to make the payment. So if you send your request to Chamber Secretary, it goes to the procurement, and finally it will come to finance for payments. So it's not the role of finance to keep on chasing where what you want to do with your water retention. It will only receive from procurement that can you pay this supplier. So some of these things that what we're debating here, they don't concern finance, so that should be noted. Then on the issue of water bills, as finance committee, we assist with that, and I like I've said, the point that was raised by Councillor or member is a valid point that we should incorporate, and there are also a plethora of initiatives that we are holding as the committee, and also in consultative with the engineering department. That going forward, like our issues that we get funding for meter readers to go throughout the city all the months, everywhere. So there are issues that maybe now need the intervention of technology going forward to address that issue, so that we get the actual billing for each month. Those are my submissions, Your Worship. Thank you very much.